So good morning and welcome to Living Beyond Limits. You all know I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear. We are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living, and I welcome you this morning. And for those of you who are joining us online, welcome also. And so let's start the service today by reading our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's really what's happening here, is for each one of us, through this coming here and listening to the words that are spoken and the lyrics of the songs that we sing and the readings and all of that, is we are moving back into that place within us where actually what it feels like to me is we are coming home to ourselves, our true self, the self that we forget sometimes when we're out in the world, our own divine and essential nature, which is the very essence of love and wholeness and power and peace, our authentic being. And we are reminded of that here so that we can, yes, again, move back into that essence of that. So when we leave here and we go out into the world, we go into the world differently. We go out into the world more loving and kind and generous of heart and compassionate and kind. All because we've tapped into something that has always been there. But we are reminding ourselves and giving ourselves the opportunity by doing things like coming here. And so I actually thank every single one of you for walking this path, discovering your own spiritual nature so that you indeed act as a beneficial presence in the world. Thank you for that. Well, happy Mother's Day, everybody. In celebration of Mother's Day, if you are a mother, would you stand and let us acknowledge you? I thank you for your love and for your care and for the difference you have made in this world through your love and through your actions, for indeed you have made a difference in this world. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd also like to acknowledge all of those who acted with a mother's love towards us, whether it was your birth mother or an adoptive mother, whether it was a grandmother or an aunt or a sister or even a neighbor or a friend. There's someone who treated each of us with that love of a mother, and we have been touched by that love, by their care, by their support, by their encouragement that they gave us. And so in turn, they are somewhat responsible for who we have become in this world today. And so we honor them and give thanks to those people that played the role of mother for us also. And I also want to acknowledge that Mother's Day can also be emotionally complicated for many people. Because for some of us, your mother is no longer here on planet Earth. And so with that, there can be a sense of loss and a sense of sadness today. There's also some people who on Mother's Day are experiencing grief because they never had that kind of mother that loved them unconditionally, that was there for them with that kind of kindness and support and encouragement. And so there is some emotional stuff going on today for lots of people. But regardless of if your mother is here or not today, or if your mother was a good mother or not a good mother, or a good mother part of the time, regardless of that, we all today have that archetypal mother within us. We all have that love of the divine within us, that aspect of spirit that is the love of spirit that expresses as that divine mother archetype in us. And so actually Shelley has written a poem, and I'm going to invite her to come up and share this poem with you.
Actually, I wrote this poem a long time ago for a friend in need, and it was based on the 23rd Psalm, which is a prayer of protection that many of you may know. So line by line, it's a riff of the 23rd Psalm. It's called Mama God's House, an affirmative prayer. Mama God is my protector and my plentiful provider. Come in, take a chair, help yourself to my abundance. She sets my feet on righteous paths of kindness, truth, and love, restoring my courage and my joy for living. And even when death's shadow dims my day, I'll never fear, for you, dear Mama God, are here beside me, lifting and guiding me all the way. Right in the midst of my troubles, you set a banquet before me, drape me in loveliness, and pour me an overflowing cup of bubblicious blessings. Your loving presence will be with me always, and in my mama's house, I'll live forever.
Mm. Would you like a hand?
Okay, great, thanks.
Isn't that lovely, lovely? I came across that this week and said, will you read that for us? That's so nice. And so Emily Cady, who was Christian Science, said, God is love. We cannot see love, nor grasp any comprehension of what love is, except as it is clothed in human form. All the love in the universe is God. The love between husband and wife, between parents and children, is just a little bit of God as pushed forth through the visible into manifestation. A mother's love, so infinitely tender, so unfailing, is God's love, only manifested in a greater degree by the mother. It's the love of spirit coming into form. And so that aspect of spirit that expresses as that archetypal mother in us expresses itself as love. It expresses itself as care. That archetypal mother within us expresses itself as gentleness and encouragement. It's that which cheers us on and that which sees our absolute potential and knows that we can do it, whatever it is. That love is patient and kind and gentle. It is filled with wisdom and acts as a wise counsel to us. That's that archetypal mother. And so we know that there is a wise counsel of mothers. And so I'd like to share this with you. This is an article written by Bess Kalb, and it is entitled, Obituaries My Mother Wrote for Me While I Was Living in San Francisco in My 20s. It says, it is with deep sorrow that we announce the passing of Bess Kalb, 24, of San Francisco, formerly of New York. The cause of death was botulism from a homemade strawberry rhubarb jam that was prepared by one of her housemates. The housemate, Aviva something, holds a degree in, I kid you not, modern culture and media. She certainly had no formal training in sterile canning and preservation. If this kitchen in this co-op where the jam was prepared looks anything like it did 6 months ago, there was compost decaying on the counter next to the sink. Bess is survived by her brother, who once looked up to her. Another one of her obituaries says, we mourn the death of Bess Kalb, 25, beloved daughter and sister, who passed away late yesterday while hiking in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone reception. A product of Manhattan. Bess had no awareness of wild animals, so when she inevitably encountered a bear/coyote/mountain lion, apparently no longer nocturnal due to ambient city lights, which she would have known if she'd read the article I sent her, she may as well had a giant sign around her neck that said, dinner. It also could have been sunstroke. She had a fair complexion like her mother. And then the third and the last one says, our hearts are broken as we announce the demise of our daughter Bess Kalb, 27, who was taken from us by a Lyft driver and dismembered. Despite learning at the youngest age possible never to get into a stranger man's car, Bess, ever a techno-optimist, decided to enter her home address into an app, hop into a Hyundai, and hope for the best. The family would like mourners to treat Beth's death as more or less a suicide. Hilarious. But regardless if you had that perfect mom or not, or regardless if you even had a mother, Marianne Williamson reminds us we are not held back by the love we did not receive in the past, but by the love we're not extending in the present. We're not held back by the love we did not receive, but only by the love we're not extending in this moment now. You know, as children, we all wanted to be loved and cared for. We all wanted to be supported and encouraged and believed in. I think I'm going to turn this mic off. I don't know if that's where it is. I'll talk in this. And so today, as adults, we still want that same kind of love. We still want to be loved and cared for and encouraged. And in addition to that, as adults, we also want to experience our own wholeness. We want to experience our own value. We want to experience our own goodness. And when we come from that kind of love for ourselves, that unconditional love, it is then that we feel safe. And it is in that safety then that we are actually able to be loving and encouraging and gentle and kind to ourselves. It's in that space where we can feel believed in by ourselves, where we can experience our own wholeness and our own value and our own goodness. In that space of that unconditional love, we feel safe to grow. We feel safe to stretch out. We feel safe to try on new things we've never tried on before, to do new things. In that space of self-love, it's safe to let go of what isn't working in our lives because we feel safe in ourselves to try something new, to do something new, to know that we'll be okay because we're encouraging to ourselves. We feel safe to be vulnerable in that kind of love. And in that vulnerability, then we are safe to let our walls down and to show up as our authentic, full selves in this world. And in that environment of feeling safe like that, that is when we bring our best selves to life. That's when we act as a beneficial presence in this world. That's when we're able to bring our gifts and our talents and our generous heart and our love to this world in a way that is beneficial. And so Mother's Day, I think, then invites us to treat ourselves with that same kind of love. That Mother's Day invites us to treat ourselves with kindness and with patience and with encouragement. The problem is, I think, sometimes is we don't treat ourselves with that kind of kindness and love and encouragement because we think it's supposed to come from out there. We're supposed to get that from our friends or from our parents or from our spouse. We don't realize that it can come from inside of ourselves. I think Mother's Day invites us to recognize that that love is always present within us. That love of the divine feminine, of the divine architect of love, that archetypal mother lives within us. Whether you are a man or a woman or young or old, it doesn't matter. Spirit is within you. And that means that the love of Spirit is within you and within everyone. Evan Hodkins, in his book, The School of Alchemy, said, "The quality of spirit that gives of itself, nurtures life, and holds everything together is pure love, unconditional love. And the model we've been given for this way of loving and living is motherhood. The only thing that gives us a chance to love as God loves is the fact that the feminine is within us all. This is the magic of motherhood, of the divine mother. It is a get-out-of-jail-free card. The feminine liberates us from our prisons of feeling separate from one another, from living in fear and judgment. That's why it's called the divine feminine, divine motherhood. It is so complete, so nourishing, that it can only be God loving through them. That is the love that lives inside of every single one of us, that unconditional love. And so the second problem is maybe we don't love ourselves with that kind of love because we didn't receive it as children. Therefore, it wasn't modeled for us, and we don't actually know how to love ourselves like that. Or maybe if you didn't receive that kind of unconditional love in your childhood, you think you don't deserve it today. Because after all, if you deserved it, you would have received it back then. Or maybe you just don't even realize that it's really important to love yourself and how important it really is. But Mother's Day, actually the truth is how we see ourselves does two different things. How we see and treat ourselves actually invites others to see us and treat us the same way that we treat ourselves, because it matches our self-concept. It matches our vibration. So when we treat ourselves with less than kindness, or less than honoring, or less than nurturing, that's exactly the people that we attract to ourselves in our life. Not just attract, but it's what we put up with, because we already put up with it within ourselves, so we put up with it out there. So think about this. Think about a person who stays in an abusive relationship. Do you think that person is nurturing and loving and kind to themselves? Do you think that that person that stays in an abusive relationship is their own cheerleader? Is their own wise counsel, the counsel of a mother? Do you think that person is supportive and encouraging to themselves? My guess is not so much. The second thing with how we treat and see ourselves is how we see and treat ourselves is that overflows out into the world and becomes how we see and treat other people also, because it's the consciousness that we live in. So how we treat ourselves, we treat other people. If we are judgmental and critical of ourselves, guess what? We are judgmental and critical of people out there. If we are hard on ourselves, we are hard on people out there. It starts in here. So when we treat ourselves with a mother's love, when we are encouraging, when we are gentle, when we are kind and compassionate and patient, we become kinder and gentler and more patient and more loving out in the world in our interactions with other people. We become less judgmental and more accepting. In turn, that creates more peace within us. It creates more peace in our relationships, and it creates more peace in this world. So I was in my mid to late 20s when I started doing therapy. And one of the big things that I did in therapy was reparenting myself. And so that included some things like looking at and then changing the way that I spoke to myself, because I was so hard on myself and so critical of myself. It had also included that reparenting, taking time to really listen to that wise counsel within me. That means to make choices that were in my best interest and to not do things that were not in my best interest. It meant tapping into that wise counsel. It also meant allowing myself to make mistakes and not beating myself up for them. And I remember one of the first times that I really noticed that had shifted in me was I was in Downey and I was coming home, so I needed to go south on the 605 freeway, and I got on going north. And as I got on the freeway going north, I burst out laughing. That was so new for me, to laugh at myself rather than giving myself a hard time. I laugh at myself all the time now. I am so much gentler inside of myself than I used to be. And I'm not even sure I should tell you the story, but I'll tell you anyway. I went to see my mom a couple months ago. Oh my goodness, to listen to her be mean to herself. God damn it, Linda, when she would do something wrong. It's like it was so hard to be around that, and that's where I used to live all the time, in that harsh kind of environment. So what happens, though, is as we treat ourselves with that kindness, with that support, and that love, and that compassion, we bring a better self to the world. I am such a better self than I was back then. So much more loving and kind and generous and compassionate and caring and open-hearted and being friends with people. When we treat ourselves like that rather than with criticism and harshness, we are more easily and readily available to share our love when that love is already in here. And we're able to share that love because we feel safe in here. It's safe to love. It's safe to be vulnerable. It's safe to be open-hearted because we're not going to yell at ourselves inside of ourselves. We feel relaxed. And in that kind of love, we experience our own wholeness. Not what's wrong with us, but we experience our goodness and our wholeness. And then we bring that to the world. And then we win, and everyone wins. And so what if then Mother's Day were an invitation? What if it was an invitation from our own spirit? An invitation to be that ideal mother for ourselves. Whether we ever experienced it before or not, but to be that today for ourselves. What if we took that invitation to love ourselves in a greater way so that we could be a greater presence of love and care and a beneficial presence in this world, knowing that that's the thing that makes coming from that easier. We know it starts at home. It all starts here and then ripples out into the world. And so how do you love yourself better? You know, I think some of those answers are we listen to that wise counsel inside of ourselves. We say yes to the things that are in our highest and best interest, and we say no to the things that aren't. Your mother would not let you stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning playing games on your phone. We listen to the wise counsel inside of ourselves. Your mother would have you eat your vegetables. I think we act in ways that are supportive to ourselves, mentally and emotionally and physically, that are supportive of that. I think it means that we make good choices about what we eat and what we do with our time and who we spend time with. I think it means that we create a loving and nurturing environment for ourselves, whether that be in our home or in our places of work or even just inside of ourselves. That might mean things like turning off the news and turning on music that you like. It might mean that when you're driving on the freeway and you get mad at another driver, that instead of staying in that fury, that you actually breathe, or that you turn on the music and you sing so that you can help shift your own energy so that you can be at peace. It might mean having more flexibility and allowing yourself to change your mind. It might mean forgiving yourself, nurturing yourself. It might mean taking time to rest in the silence of your own being, the part that is beyond your chattering mind, so that you can just rest in your own self. And so I invite you right now to join me in a meditation where you have the opportunity to rest like that in yourself. And so I invite you just to begin to turn your attention inward to the center of your very being. Feeling your way into that space. Here in this space, the space of absolute silence and perfect stillness. Here is the place where you experience the essence of your very being. The essence of your spirit. The essence of your soul. In this silence, you return to the truth of who you are. You return to the truth of what you are. Spirit divine. Love unconditional. Absolute freedom, unencumbered. Here is the peace that passes understanding. This is the energy that you are born out of, and that which you are maintained and sustained by. It is as if you are filled with and immersed in an ocean of unconditional love. A love that is sweet and pure, calm and infinite. You were born out of the very essence of love and are surrounded by it and filled by it now. This divine love believes in you and knows that you can do anything you desire. For you are this same limitless, creative essence. No matter where you go or what you do, the love and support of Spirit are always with you. You are never judged, only supported, uplifted, and upheld to be more of your true self, to express your true nature to a greater degree. The love of Spirit is infinite, and you are always held in this loving embrace within the bosom of the divine. for you are the beloved. Spirit accepts you wholly and fully exactly where you are. And so for a moment, just revel in that acceptance of Spirit. Feel this acceptance. For a moment, can you accept yourself as Spirit accepts you? This is the archetypal love of a mother. See yourself as the divine sees you, whole, perfect, complete, and beautiful. Feel the love that the divine has for you, pure, unconditional. The infinite loves you as a part of itself. In this communion, Spirit within whispers, "You are my beloved. I am in you. You are in me." I can never leave you, for we are one. I am the eye of your being. I am the love in your heart. I am the life in your breath. I am the all in all. You are the love of me, the peace of me, the light of me. Your essential nature is goodness itself, love unconditional. Your spirit is the very essence of compassion and benevolence, acceptance and kind-heartedness, gentleness and peace. You are these things, for you are of me. There is no other. There is only one. 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 And so we just allow ourselves to rest here for a moment. And so I invite you to begin to bring your awareness back to your body, back to this time and place. Releasing the meditation, becoming aware of the room around you. And feel the temperature of the air on your cheeks. Feel yourself supported by the chair. Feel the floor your feet are resting on. And feel your hands and feet and just wiggle them a little bit. Help bring yourself back into your body. And bringing yourself back to the room refreshed, present. One of the quotes from the book in the class that we're doing right now is a quote from Ernest Holmes in the book This Thing Called You. He said, "Would it not be more simple to say that finally things work out for the best only when they are life-giving?" When we treat ourselves in ways that are only life-giving. When we treat the world in ways that are life-giving. Finally, things work out for the best. And so my invitation to you is to allow Mother's Day to be a reminder that you always have that archetypal mother within you. Let it be a reminder that the love of the divine is our own essence, so it's always right here. We never have to look afar for it. It's always right where we are. For the love of the divine is with us at all times. And may we heed the call of our own spirit to speak in ways and to act in ways that are life-giving to ourselves and to others. And so to all of you, happy Mother's Day. And so I invite you to join me as we turn our attention from this relative world and turn our attention to the absolute truth. The truth is truly that God, Spirit, the infinite one, life, love, the good, is ever present. For it is that which was before there was a world, that which was in the beginning, and that which will be after the end of time. There is only this one infinite presence, and it is a presence of love. It is a presence of goodness. It is that energy of life. It is the truth of oneness and of unity. It is harmonious and whole and beautiful and magnificent. And that is expressing itself as us. That is expressing itself as every single person, every animal, every plant, everything that we see around us is this one unfolding itself. And so today we open our hearts and our minds to allow that inflow to even a greater degree. For anything and everything that has not looked like love, right now we release. We let go of criticism or harshness or judgmentalism or the need for perfection. And we simply open ourselves to the magnificence of life that is here for the taking. The magnificence of life that we are bathing in right now, that is endless and boundless in its potential, endless and boundless in the good that it is. And so today we lean into that, knowing that indeed it is Spirit's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, to unfold itself as all that we could possibly need, that it unfolds itself through us as us, around us. That presence right now blesses our homes, and it blesses our places of work. It blesses our endeavors. It blesses living beyond limits. It blesses each and every single one of our lives. For all of this is the life of spirit. And simply blessing all of this just unfolds itself. And so I speak this word not just about us, but also about every single person on this planet, knowing that the fullness of that presence of spirit is right where they are also. And right now, it is unfolding itself as the meeting of every need, as the answer to every question, as the solution to every problem. All of its potential, all of the intelligence that it is, all of the creativity, all of the perfection, unfolding itself here, right now, across this planet. And I know that this is also true about every single one of our world leaders and politicians and policymakers, decision makers, that the intelligence of spirit, the intelligence that knows how to turn food into bone and muscle, that intelligence is within them. And it is speaking to their minds and their hearts as that which is life-giving, that which allows humanity to flourish and to thrive and to live its best life. For I know that every single one of them has a pull from the divine, a pull of their own spirit, a pull to be a beneficial presence in this world. And so spirit unfolds, and we enjoy the unfolding of that. We enjoy the gifts that come to this world as that. And so with a grateful heart, I release this word into the creative womb of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding itself everywhere. We see it, we feel it, we know it. And we place our faith and our trust there. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And so I have just a couple of invitations for you. One is Pat and Mike are continuing to do outreach with the homeless in Long Beach if you would like to join them. So yes, talk to Pat and Mike, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And just to let you know, we have prayer support. There's a ministry of prayer box. We have prayer shawls. The practitioners are happy to pray with you. You all know our Sunday talks come out usually on Monday evening or Tuesday morning on our website, and they're on YouTube. We invite you to share them with friends. We invite you to share the things that we post on YouTube and Instagram. That's how you build a following so that that's how you advertise today, really. So we invite you to do that. Follow us on social media and share those things and like them and all that kind of stuff. And so I invite you to repeat after me, good fills my life now. I step into it. I own it. I celebrate it. And so it is.